Welcome to Unsigned Hype episode 7. On this episode, I have the pleasure to talk to the incredible artist Bodhi from Norwalk, Connecticut. Prior to our interview, I asked Bodhi which song they would play for someone that wasn't familiar with their music yet. Bodhi chose their song, Pretty Lies, and if you're not familiar with Bodhi's music yet, here's a snippet of that song before we jump into the interview. This is Unsigned Hype. The song you just heard is called Pretty Lies by Bodhi, and I have the absolute pleasure to welcome Bodhi on the show today, who's joining us from Connecticut. Bodhi, why is Pretty Lies the song you would play for someone that has never heard your music before?
I would play Pretty Lies because personally, I believe that song showcases my vocals and also just my delivery and how the music can just like sink into your soul if you really just let it. That song is very personal to me, so I feel like it came across a lot in the vocals and the production of it as well, because I produced that song myself and I really just sat down and tried to encapsulate that feeling that I was feeling in that moment. And I made it in my car, so it was like very just like raw and like yeah, I just think that song, one, it gives you a grasp of like what my voice sounds like, and it gives you a grasp of the topics that I like to talk about in my music and how like I don't just make music to make music. Like I want to help people. I want to help people get through things by just relating to what I go through. Um and it has a little bit of that jazzy R&B feel in it too, which is kind of what I'm switching to now. So I would show that because it gives you like a little feel of everything.
What is it about that feeling that you've had in your car? Can you take me back to that day when there's a lot to untangle here. How do you decide to write a song in your car? Like, can you take me back to that day a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm in college. So that day I believe I had class in the morning and then I had work and then I had my 5:30 to 8 p.m. class. And I commute, so at the time the only room that I could go into was my girlfriend's room, and they were at class, so I just sat in my car, got a little bored, and I was like, I'm kind of feeling a little sad right now, like more than usual, just like it's kind of just seeping in because like I don't have anything to distract myself with. So I was like, let me just pull out my laptop, and I put together uh, the guitar part with some loops that I was sent by a friend. Um, and then I added the drums, the vocals, and I kind of just played with it until it was time to go to class. And by then I had a full song, and I just did the mixing and stuff later on when I had time.
But that was not your first song that you recorded, right?
No, it was my second song.
The second song. And how do you approach writing a second song? I mean, you basically started your career off, if I'm not mistaken. You started to release your first songs in 2022. Pretty Lies was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a difference between, the way you put together your first song and your second one? Like, what learnings came with putting out the first song, recording it, versus the second one you put out?
That's a good question. I think that with every release, like an artist like comes to terms with things that he can do differently and things that they can keep. Um, for me, Tender Thunder, all my other songs recorded here at my desk. And I personally prefer recording at this desk in this room because it's my space. Like this is my home studio. So, like everything down here is just me. and I feel like very encapsulated, and I get into a certain headspace down here. So for me, that's usually what I go with, and then doing it in the car, it was like it wasn't like an intentional approach to recording the song, you know what I mean? But I did feel like in that moment, um, it was the best like option for me to record that song there, just because I was getting that genuine feeling that I was having in that moment. I feel like if I would have wrote the song and then waited until I had to go home, and then I probably would have been tired and I wouldn't be feeling the same way, and so like things wouldn't have come across that way, you know what I mean? Um but yeah, I guess the only difference in that is just like time and place, and I think that feeling and vibes are really important when you're trying to record a song.
I'm gonna. Um, I'm wondering if you could elaborate on that feeling, because you've mentioned it quite a few times. If you're okay to talk about it, because
Yeah.
sometimes things are very personal. But I feel like something happened to you on that day that made you want to write that song that is also very powerful. Could you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, so, um, I mean, like, everyone goes through it, like, there's, like, seasonal depression and all that stuff, like, majority of people feel that, but I myself, like, my mental health is a little more serious than that, and there's also people in my family that, deal with stuff a little more serious than that, and, that month, um, a family member of mine was just, like, struggling a little bit more, and, like, that was taking a toll on me because you never wanna see, like, someone you love, like, feel that way, you know? Um, and, his birthday was coming up, and it was just like a really tough time, and, I just like, personally for me, it was like, I'm feeling this way, but, like, I know he's feeling this way, and I feel like if I can encapsulate how I feel, he can completely relate to that, and he can know that he's heard and, like, really felt. And so that feeling is very specific to that song. The feelings that are encapsulated in other recordings, they're very, like, just specific to the song, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But, yeah.
Let's go back a little bit to your early beginnings that haven't even been that long ago. So let's talk about that first song and you wanting to make music, which to me sounds like you find something very therapeutic in writing and in putting out songs. How do you approach a first song as an artist? What made you want to do it, and what were the different steps you took to put it out, basically?
Yeah. So, the first song that I released is "Tender Thunder." It's like a neo soul R&B type of song. Um, I had been recording and writing for, like a year, like, actually trying to write songs and record songs. I just didn't have the right equipment and all that stuff, but when the time came, I figured, like, I'd actually try and record something, get something down, and Tender Thunder just came about, like, again, I just sat down and I put some stuff together for the production, the instrumentals of it, and then I, kinda just what I do with every song is I get the beat together, and then I think that once you get the beat together, you really feel it, and you know exactly, like, what you wanna convey with not only your words, but with the melody as well. So, I just sat on it and, messed around with a few different melodies and tried to make sure that the melody was, like, going exactly along with the words that I was saying. Um, and that was just a little bit of a process for me at first because it was like, I know how I want this to feel, but why can't I make it feel that way? So I just had to keep going back to it and back to it. Um, and eventually I came out with what is known as Tender Thunder now, and I'm really happy about it. It was my first song that I
Great
released.
song, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I didn't know you produce. Do you produce everything yourself?
Um, I produced a majority of my discography. The only songs out that I haven't produced are Homecoming Slumber, which was produced by Arcane, and then Brown Sugar, which was my latest release, and that's produced by Chicano Blues.
Cool. What was your upbringing like in terms of music? Do you come from a very musical family, or is it something that you've discovered more for yourself?
Yeah, so um my family's not musical per se, like no one really sings or plays any instruments. But they love music, and like music's like very important to them. Um, so I always just grew up listening to music, and the biggest thing was like car rides, I guess, because when you're little, like I feel like car rides feel like forever. And I'm always in the car traveling from home and then to this other city where my parents worked at. So I was just in the car a lot, and they would play music like Jackson 5, New Edition, Boys to Men, like all that stuff. And I fell in love with the Jackson 5s. I made my parents like buy me like a Michael Jackson wig and the glove and stuff, and I
Awesome.
would like mess around with my brother and sing their sound and stuff. But yeah, I just like I don't know. I guess I just fell in love with it, and then in school, middle school, I started choir. Um, and then high school, I did a blues band, which was like a live performance thing. So that's how I got into like my love of live performing and stuff like that. Um, but no, I don't have that many like my older brother, he like raps and stuff. But other than that, I don't have any other musical people in my family. They like sports.
And is there, when approaching you recording a song, is there already the idea in mind that you want to build a career out of it, or does it come in the first place? Does it come only from your interest, just trying new things out and putting a song together, or has there been a conscious decision? I mean, I guess by now you have your management, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But when was there a conscious decision to make a career out of your passion, basically?
Yeah. So I go to college for music right now. I graduated high school in 2019, so I'm like a year behind because of COVID. I took a year off, so I got like an extra year left. Um, but I um I went to school for opera. So I went to college. I started studying opera. And then I was like, why am I studying opera? Like I love it, like the singing and stuff, and the lessons were very, very good for me. I think that like skyrocketed like just my potential just because I could really like tap into my throat and like what I needed it to do in that moment, you know what I mean? Um but I was like, why am I doing opera now? Like I have this like real love and like drive to do this music stuff. So um I would say that um like I've always wanted to do this. Like ever since I started writing, I've always wanted to do it, but like wanting to do it and like knowing that you can possibly do it are like two like kind of different things, cuz it's like I've always wanted to do it, and like I think I have the potential to do it, but like the more that I wrote songs and the more that I released songs after Pretty Lies, I was kind of like, I have to do this. But the more that I just wrote songs and like just kept going through that process, I just figured like, this is like, you have a shot, like, you have to take it, you have to make the most of it. And so, like, just don't blow it. Like, you've always wanted this, so just like do it now. So it wasn't
This
more
might
so,
be
No, go ahead.
Sorry for cutting you off. I'm very interested in this because I mean, this could be difficult to answer because um, my question would be, how do you yourself, how do you know that this is the path that you need to pursue? Like, you're getting better at writing, you're getting better with at vocalizing what you write down. You get a better sense that you're good at it. But can you describe what gives you that feeling that you're good at it? Because you are. I mean, you obviously are, and no question about that. But what gives you that feeling of being good at it?
So I guess that goes back to a little back into my childhood and like sports and stuff. I was like I said, my family's very like athletic and all that stuff. So I was put in a bunch of sports throughout my childhood. And by high school, my main three were soccer, tennis, and basketball. And then my senior year, I was like, maybe I should go to school for tennis, like go get a ride for tennis. But I was like, I love music and I don't want to go to a school for tennis that doesn't have a music program where I can just like, even if I don't end up being an artist, I can still get a career in the music industry. Um, but I was always good at sports. Like it was just like a natural thing in the same way with like music. Like it's just like a natural thing that like I work at to become like better every day that I'm trying to become better every day. But it's just like it was a natural ability that I had to play sports and I could have become better and I could have excelled if I wanted to, but I didn't feel anything for it. Like I would wake up for practice and I would be like, I don't want to go. Like, I don't want to go at all. And then I'm here with the music and I'm like, I'm recording like day in, day out. I'm writing day in, day out. My parents, I come upstairs for a drink and they're like, oh, hello, stranger. It's just like, I want to be here and I want to do what I have to do to get there. And I feel like, just because I've like people have told me throughout my life that like I'm a good singer, this and that, like they like my writing. So it's like getting that validation from other people was important and to me, like understanding that I have the potential, but also I feel like the biggest part was just like really falling in love with it on top of just like knowing that I can sing pretty well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't have that love, if you don't have that drive for it, then it's just like, it's a kind of different thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do also believe that, with singing obviously or with the writing comes the singing, with the singing comes the writing. When you mentioned writing, I was wondering if can you describe what is good versus bad writing to you? Like, when do you feel like what you've written wasn't good versus what you've written was really good? Is there a way to describe it?
Um, Let me think. So
Or maybe without naming an artist, but we don't want to talk negative on anyone, but
no.
maybe you can even explain in the mainstream world, like, songs that you feel like for you are not at the level they should be at. Maybe that makes it easier. Like, when do you feel like when you hear a song, the writing wasn't good or was really good? It doesn't have to be a negative example, you know.
Yeah, no. Okay, I think I can answer this. All right. So for me, the biggest part in writing for me is to either tell a story, like paint a picture with your words, or like that's it. Like tell a story or paint a picture with your words. Cause that's like to me, that's the only way that the audience is really gonna connect to it unless the production is really, really solid underneath it. Um and there's a lot of different ways to do that. Like there's a lot of different ways to tell a story. You can literally just go through it and be like, yeah, I went like here the other day and like this is how I felt that day, whatever. But then there's the way that is like the paint a picture way, and that's the way that I like to imagine when I write is like how can I tell this story without telling the story, just like explaining like the feeling of it, you know what I mean? So um I can't even think of specific examples right now, but it's like they're mainstream songs and it's like it's a really catchy good song. Like obviously people are going to like it cuz it's catchy, but I feel like the words that people use in their writing are just like I don't know, like I think of it as if you were handing in homework like to your English teacher. If you wrote a sentence and it was like I ate today, just like something like that, like and the teacher gives you it back and is like, I'm probably gonna give you a C on this because you could have done a lot more. You could have given me a lot more. You ate today. What did you eat? How did it make you feel? Like, what did it taste like? You know?
That's the perfect description. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, it's lacking depth, basically, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's a good way to put it. And do you feel like I want to stay with this writing topic a little bit because it's kind of, I mean, essential to what every artist does. Um, Earlier you said, you feel like you're getting better at it. How does one get better at writing? What gives you that feeling of getting better at it than you were yesterday or the day before?
Yeah. So I think that's like a very like it can be personal, it can also not be personal. Um like you get to a point, I feel like where you're getting enough feedback from people where like if you're doing okay or if you're not, right? So once you know that you're like doing okay to a certain extent, it's like now you have to look inward and really like think about where you want to go, like if your music makes you feel the same way that it made those other people feel. Um and then you kind of just like for me, it's like I know that I'm moving in a certain direction with my music, but I don't want to like just at a like snap of my finger just change my whole game because I know that people really like the music that I was making before. So it's like I'm figuring out a way how to incorporate those hypnotic melody type feels into the like R&B and like funk and jazz type world and like genre blend the same way I was doing before just with another genre. So for me it was like how do I keep that same like keep that same encapsulating feel but also like interweave in that other feel that I want to go for. And so now for me it's a matter of fact of my syllables and like just like the wording that I choose like it always is, but it's like now you just have to reevaluate it and really work on it and push it. And the reason that I think I'm getting better is just because I'm figuring out like who I am as an artist and like exactly what I want to do with my artistry. So getting better is like subjective. I feel like if you know that you have ways to go, like just to even like put a song together, then obviously it's easier to get better because you're just going for like the blank canvas, like you're just going for it.
Yeah, and you mentioned that it's also the people surrounding you that give you feedback on your music. I was wondering how much critical feedback you take in for what you do. Like, are there specific people that you play the music for on a regular basis, or are you kind of maybe shy about it and would rather just release whatever you feel is right to release?
Um, I I don't know. I'm not very shy about it just because I feel like for me it's important to know that I have like people I can trust and people that like won't like just agree with me to agree with me. Um and that they just want me to do the best that I can. I think that that's very important. And so I do send my music to like a core group of people, like unreleased, release, whatever. But I do send it to them and I do ask for feedback, like genuine feedback. And yeah, like I just think that's important for an artist to have, even if even if you don't like feedback and you think that
Hmm.
it's not important. It is important, but it I guess it depends what your goals are.
Hmm. No, I agree. And I mean, it's you've been talking about growth a lot and getting better at things, so it's important, I guess, to have people also there to support you in the growth and to give you valuable feedback that you can implement on your music to
Right.
get better as we all as human beings want to do in what we craft. So mm, with that being said, what is something that you currently work on in terms of getting better at? Like, what is something that you believe you need to get better at to keep building a successful music career?
Yeah. Um I've been thinking about that a lot recently, just like I'm always thinking about like ways to improve. And right now my biggest focus is just like simply making the music that I know and like I feel. Like that's just like how where I'm at, that's like the only way that I can grow into the artist that I want to be. Um and the music that I was making before was the music that I wanted to make in that moment. But it was just like I had all that music and I was making it and I was like, what am I gonna do with it? I'm gonna release it. So I released it, but now I'm like really just like reevaluating my future and trying to make the best out of everything that I have right now. And making the music that I want to make is really important.
It sounds very strategic now.
Yeah.
Do you get more strategic at what you do?
I think so. I don't know if that's like just like a certain people thing. Like I don't know if it's just like I don't know because sometimes my brain does work a lot differently than other people. Like I overthink a lot. Like it's just like that's just who I am. Um, so like there's really never a calm moment for me. I'm always like figuring stuff out in my head.
Hmm.
Um, and So yeah, for me, strategic, like that's always like a part of it. Like you always have to like piece things together and figure out like so this is doing well here and this is that type of thing and this is doing not so well there and this is that type of thing. So then where do I go from there? Do I completely focus here or do I try and make a middle ground where I feel comfortable and like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um but
that
yeah,
sounds like
and
never-ending thoughts.
yeah, it's a lot, but I was gonna say like it's nice now that I have a team to like really like
Yeah.
just help me navigate things. It's really great, and I think that that is like a big important thing for artists to like once they can get that resource, they definitely should because even though I still overthink like crazy, like it's a weight off my shoulders for sure.
Hmm. When you talk about things that do well and other things that don't do well, are we strictly talking streaming numbers, or like how do you get that feel for the direction that you should maybe go into more because people listen to this more or like it more versus the things that you want to stop making, the music that you want to stop making because it hasn't performed too well? Like, how do you measure that?
Yeah. So I'm gonna speak personally again because I don't know how everyone else thinks, but for
Sure.
me, it was like, so I released Pretty Lies and it got like 5K in 5 days, and I was like, that's freaking ridiculous. Like at the point I had like, I don't know, 500 monthly listeners or something. And
Mm.
so that I was like, okay, people like that ambient like feel whatever. So at the beginning, I was definitely like looking at the numbers because it's like I feel like once you start, that's like just like how it is, because like once you pick it up and once those numbers pick up, you're like, wow, like you're just looking and you want it to stay that way. So I was like, okay, people like this ambient feel. Let me try it again. So I tried it again later on with Homecoming Slumber, and that one did very well too. Better than Pretty Lies. But I wanted to shift to a different feel, and I released If You Want Me To right after. And I'm not gonna lie, that song, the like mixing of it is not the greatest. I didn't do that great of a job, but um the numbers like they didn't do that well, and like that wasn't like, I wasn't taken aback by that because I had already in mind like I'm doing this whole new like brand new genre to people like that are my core listeners, like they never heard that from me before. Like I'm not expecting them to just fall in love with something that they've never heard from me before, you know what I mean? um so I was like, here, this is that, and like I'm going in this direction, so like now you know like what you're gonna hear coming soon. And I don't know, I just like went, I just kept like playing off of that, and that's what I'm doing now. So it's like I'm shifting Brown Sugar's R&B like neo soul type feel, and then I'm coming out with some songs soon and it's the same type of feel, but now these are like, it has those parts that have that like floaty melody and the ambiance in the back. So it's kind of like, how can I play like all my cards to the best of my ability? Like how can you like sell people you without really uh I don't know, without taking out any part of you or something like that. It's
Yeah,
not
and I'm wondering if it.
strategic, but it's strategic. Like,
Yeah, yeah, and Are you worried that it might? Um, Maybe worried is too much of a strong word, but do you think about these thoughts about looking at what works and what doesn't work kind of hinders you in in your creativity and in the things that you would like to put out, but that might not really resonate with your audience who's used to a certain sound from you, but it's still something that you might want to put out because it's just your creative flow and the thing that you feel in the moment. Is that something that is risky to you?
um, I feel like it could be like if you really like, if you were really like looking at those things and like were actually like really like taking it to your heart and trying to like accommodate people. But when I'm writing, I'm not thinking about, oh, these people like they want to hear this, so let me just throw that in real quick. Like when I'm
Mm.
writing, I feel like all that strategic stuff, it just goes out the door, and it's like I'm gonna put together what I like, what I feel, and like how I know how to put it together. And then like if I like it, I'm gonna send it out to the people that I said, like my friends and my manager. I'm gonna send it to them and see what they think about it. And if they like it, I'll sit with it some more and see what I can do with it. But it's never like I write a song and I want to release it, but I'm not going to release it because I don't believe that my audience will engage with it. Like, it's never that, because I know that I have opportunities to reach people outside of my active audience. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So it's like, I don't hold myself back. I just want to like find a middle ground at some point, but I want to happen naturally. So it's not like I'm trying to do all this, and that. I'm just taking everything in and looking at it
Yeah.
and really just keeping
Yeah.
it in my mind. But I'm not like hindering, like you said, I'm not hindering my progress, or I'm not
Mm.
like really changing anything about my recording process or anything.
This is a tricky thing for an artist for sure. And with that, I want to ask you, with your relatively fresh career and you building it, what is the thing that is to you the most challenging parts about building a career in music? Because there's probably so many people out there that dream of that, and that are not sure what the first step is to take, and then they record their first releases. But like, what is really right now, after you doing this for a year, which is not even that long, a year and a half or something? Is that correct? I mean,
It'll
really doing
be
it
a
properly.
year next month.
It'll be a year next month.
Yeah.
That's absolutely ridiculous, because when I listen to your songs, you have the craziest confidence in what you do. It's so incredible to see that.
Thank
Seriously,
you.
you're really, really talented.
Thank you.
Uh, yeah. Um, so in the past year, what has been your biggest challenge? Can you describe that?
Yeah. I think my biggest challenge um is probably, okay, I'll give like, okay. My biggest challenge is probably not getting wrapped up in like the numbers and like just like how everybody else is doing and like all that different stuff. I feel like that's just how it is, like in life. Just like really just worry about yourself and don't worry about what other people are doing, and don't try to like one up, like, because it's not really about that. Like, everyone has their own pace of doing things and you just got to stick to it. Um, but then again, um, I feel like another challenge I have is just like, or I had before I had got the my management that I have now. I feel like my hardest thing was really just um like managing myself as an artist, and like trying to come up with ways to like sell myself to people, basically, and ways to um get people to interact and all that stuff. And I still like, I had a time when I was like popping on TikTok for a little bit, but like the algorithm shifts. So like, just like
Mm,
Spotify, like you get that heat and then it goes away. Like, it's just like, it's like
mm,
a constant ebb and flow thing. And that is like something that like you really have to get used to, or else you will like get in your head about it. Cause I have a few artist friends that do get in their head about it, and like it's kind of hard to get out of your head once you do get into your head about it. And I try and talk to them a lot, and it's like, cuz some of them are even like doing better than me and they're still like that. It's just like, it's hard because the numbers are technically what matters in the end to get you to that mainstream level. So it's hard to ignore them, but it's kind of a necessity if you want to thrive in the early like stages.
yeah, but can I say something to that?
Yeah,
You've been doing this for less than a year, and I think you have 57,000 monthly listeners or something, or am I getting this wrong?
no, that's
I'm doing this
very
off the top
wrong.
of my head. It's very
No,
wrong.
that's very wrong. No,
17?
yeah,
17?
I've got 17. This is Yeah, that's the highest I've gotten. Or yeah, I was about to hit 18K and then I dropped again, but I'm
Yeah,
happy
but
about it.
17K in the course of a year. When you started off, you mentioning putting your first song out, and then it was like 500 monthly listeners. Like that's so much growth already
Yeah,
in like no time. And I mean, I'm sure you know that, but I do understand the numbers game, right? Is that so? Would you say that this defines success? Like, when did you feel successful in the past year with what you did? Is it looking at the numbers of I don't know, Homecoming Slumber that I think I don't know hit 100,000 streams almost? You know,
almost.
is that success to you? Is that what makes you feel successful with what you do?
Um, it is a small success to me. Like everything that I like accomplish with the music, like they're all small like successes to eventually get me to like where I want to be, and like I'm grateful for every milestone that I have to pass to get to where I want to be eventually. Um, so like yeah, Homecoming Slumber almost at 100K, like that's crazy to me. Like that's just wild to me. And even like I don't know, Pretty Lies has 50K. I think that's crazy too. And
Mm,
even if like I release a song and it gets 1K in like 2 days, I'm like, dang, that's wild. Like it's like these little things like they never really stop shocking you, and it always like feels good. And I feel like if you um if you stop appreciating those small moments, that's when things go bad too.
mm, yeah, I agree. And when you mention it's not, or you seem to know where this place is that you want to take this to,
Yeah.
or who you want to be as an artist. Can who what is that? Where is that place? What does this place look like?
Well, the first step is to be able to live off of music, obviously. Um, but eventually, I want to be mainstream, but like I don't want to be like I don't want to be like I want to be kind of like a Michael Jackson times Erica Badu. Like yeah, Michael Jackson, he's very like introverted. Um he was very introverted in the sense of when he's not on the job, he's not on the job. Like if he's not out and about like for the sense of music, then like he doesn't really want to be seen, and like he keeps his family covered and all that stuff. Like he's just a very
Mm,
like family oriented guy. Um and then Erica Badu is like I like Erica Badu because she just does whatever like she wants really. Like she's not worried about like that societal pressure from being famous, like and like all
mm,
that stuff. Like she just lives her life, and like she'll do like weird like crazy stuff that you would see a normal person doing. Like I want to be big in the sense that like everyone knows like my name and my music, and they know it for like a good reason. In fact, that they can relate to it and it's helped them through some moments. But I don't want to be big in a way that it's like I like shift my ways into like
mm.
the elite status. I just want to be a name, but I'm still gonna live in like this small house with my family, and I'm still gonna like kick it with my friends, and you're not gonna see me like you know what I mean. But yeah, but there's also just like a million things that like I just like it's on my bucket list, and like I'm not gonna stop until I can get to them. Is like
Name one of them.
one of them. I
Yeah,
want to do a world tour. A world tour. That's
yeah,
one of
because
them.
you've yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because you've had a show on May 31st in New York.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, that was your second show ever?
yeah. My second show ever.
How was that for you? The experience?
It was really good. Um, I love performing live. Like I've done that all throughout middle school and high school. Um, I just have a excuse me. I just have like a love for performing live and stuff. It like you can just the feeling that you get on the recording is like just like a quarter of the feeling that you can get from a live experience. You know what I mean?
Mm, mm,
So, um, it was really good. Like I had my friends there, and then people like I didn't expect that many people to be there. A lot more people came than I thought they would. Um, and we just had like fun. Just played. It was really good. And I have another show on when is it? July 28th. It's a kind of a bigger venue, but that's my first headline show, so I'm excited about that one.
is did that come easy for you to be on stage in front of people and singing with a microphone in your hand or in front of you? Is because I would imagine myself, being on stage for the first time or the first two times would be pretty nerve-wracking and difficult. It
Yeah.
doesn't seem like it was that experience for you.
um so like I said before, I did like choir and I did musical theater and I did the blues band that I was telling you about that performed in my high school.
Mm,
Um but so I do have this thing, like I don't know, like when I'm going for choir or like my opera stuff or just like any like ensemble type of performance or like ensemble or opera, that's literally it. Like ensemble or opera, my left knee like will go absolutely crazy. Like I'll be standing and they're just like be going like this. And that's
mm,
like I don't know cuz I feel like it may be like a level of preparedness that I feel for like
mm,
it's different because obviously like I prepare for all my shows when it's not my music, but it's just like it's not my music, so I don't know it as well as I do my music. So I feel very confident like when I'm on the stage singing my stuff because it's just like it's me and like I can't really do it wrong because like I wrote it. But
mm,
um I don't know, something about like singing with other people or playing with other people, it just makes me very nervous and my knee just goes crazy. But other than that, I think I just have this confidence when I go on stage to sing my music just because like I said, it's just me. Like
mm.
I'm just being me and I'm just singing me, like I'm singing exactly how I feel and it's nothing new.
Yeah. Is there is there something you would have wished to know about the music industry and the territory that you're moving in every day prior to starting your career in music?
Yeah. So a lot of the times, at least for me, what I heard like prior to getting into the music industry was that like watch your back, like you can't trust these people, like people are always out to get you, this, that, and the third. And while yeah, you do want to watch your back, like you can't like have your guard up, and like be like too protective of your art and you. Like
Mm,
there are a lot of good people out there that are like willing to help you get to where you want to be. And like if people are reaching out to you and like really taking the time to like circle back around after the first email and stuff, like maybe just like take it into like consideration, like really like I don't know. I feel like there's just that like stereotype that you have to just watch your back and people are sneaky and greedy. And like, yeah, that's true in some circumstances. Like, I've had friends go through it, but it's like, it's very apparent when that's going to happen. Like, it's
Hmm.
like not like people are like two-faced. Like you can see it before it happens. And like, if you read the contracts and all that stuff, like, you'll see it before it happens. So I think for me, the biggest thing was just like, I wish I knew that I didn't have to have this wall up in the beginning because, uh, I mean, I wouldn't change anything about my journey, but I feel like having my walls down a little bit more in the beginning and letting people in uh, that were trying to help me out um, in the beginning, maybe I would be farther along than I am now. Maybe I wouldn't, but yeah.
That's a really good advice, which brings me to my next question about the people who might be tuning in and listening to you talk about your journey, who are about to follow their dreams and build a career in music. What are some of the other things that you would tell them? Other advice that you would give them, basically.
Yeah. Um, my biggest piece of advice is um make art that is like 100% like an authentically you. Like, and even if that art, or even if like who you are and like how you feel about yourself changes throughout the time, like your art can also reflect that change, and that only makes it that much more relatable to people because people can also be going through what you're going through and want to hear somebody talk about that stuff. um I just think that um it's very common for people to kind of piggyback off of ideas from other people. Just because it's working for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So I feel like just really be you, and that's all you can really give to people, because if you try and give them anything that's not you, it's not gonna pan out the way you want it. You're gonna get burned out, and it's just not gonna end well. But yeah.
And since we're talking about um, people that might think about starting a career in music, I would be interested to know if you know about people that are just at the beginning of their journey, like yourself, which will definitely be a long, very successful journey. Who are the people that you would recommend to the listeners that they should also check out?
Yeah. All right. So I got two of my boys. My boy Danny Arrow. Danny Arrow on all platforms. He does a lot of stuff. He's writing a post punk wave right now. But a lot of his old music is just like feel good music, like that same type of like euphoric feeling that people really search for when they are feeling down or they just want to have a good time. Um, he's just a few years ahead of me on his journey, and he's killing it right now. But I really think that he deserves more recognition than he has right now.
That's Danny
Definitely.
Arrow, Arrow like the arrow.
Danny Arrow, Aro.
Aro, Danny Arrow. Okay, we'll definitely check that out.
Yep. And then Balaji. Balaji. He's
You've
actually,
recently put out a song with him,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it was on Brown Sugar. Yep. We co-wrote that. He's rising really fast right now these few couple weeks, and I'm really happy for him. But yeah, I think that even still he deserves more attention than he's getting right now. So that's BO with the straight line accent over it. LAJI with the what's that called?
It's a
The
little.
little accent on the
Actually, I don't.
I.
Yeah, the little accent. Yeah.
I don't know what it's called, but yeah. No.
Yeah,
He makes
would
like R&B type music, R&B
yeah.
um R&B genre blend, I would say, because it's all R&B based, but they all have different feels to it.
That's amazing. We'll make sure to link that in the show notes as well, so everyone can check them out. Thank you so much for recommending them. Yeah, I guess before we end this conversation, I did see a snippet that you released a few days ago. I think you wrote in the caption that you recorded it over Jay's beat.
Oh yeah, I did a duet, a TikTok duet.
And I can personally say that I really loved that song as well, or what I heard. No pressure, because I know that it's not always easy to have people tell you what to release and what not, and that's not something that you should listen to. But if I may say, please put it out, because it sounded really incredible.
I gotta work on that one. Gotta work on that one.
We'll take your time.
Thank
and
you.
If it's not that one, then it'll be something else. But I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and let me finish off by asking you the last question is, you've mentioned it a little bit already, but what do you do this all for? Like, what is it all for?
Well, there's a few reasons why I do this, but the biggest reason I started to do it was just because being me, like there's like I know like I have these feelings like when I do things like that I just don't enjoy, like it just like I simply can't do them. Like it's not something that is debatable. Like if I like can't get any dopamine, any stimulants from it, like I just simply cannot do it. And music has never like been that thing for me. Like it's always been quite the opposite. Like if I felt some type of way, I would go to music. Like music is my outlet for everything. So I do this for like the passion of it. Like it's what I want to do. It's what I've always wanted to do. But I also do it for other people too as well. Like my audience, my future audience, because I feel as though like my music does it now, but I feel as though once I'm exactly like where I want to be musically, like there will be connections to be made to the music in a way that is just like that people like search for in music, like when you're sad or upset or whatever it is, like whatever that mood is, I want to have something in my discography for that person to really feel it and not just hold it back in the moment, you know what I mean? I really just want to like help people, and at the same time I'm just making a name for myself is what I like. That's how I feel. Like I'm doing this because I know that like I have the potential to make music that can change my life and other people's lives. That's how I feel.
And with that, Bodhi, I want to say thank you so much for this really amazing conversation. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Miles. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's fun. My mother told me not to sleep, but God is really watching me.
This was Unsigned Hype episode 7 with Bodhi. The track you're hearing right now is Bodhi's latest single, Mother Told Me. You will find the song in the Unsigned Hype podcast playlist, along with all other songs discussed in this episode. Make sure to support Bodhi by checking out their music and following them on social media. And for your weekly Unsigned Hype, make sure to also follow us on Spotify and Instagram. All the links are in the show notes below.
My